Alrighty, I decided to film the second round before I go to bed. I'm just a really night owl guy, and the round starts at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And you know what? I figured may as well make another video. So, first round I lost. I played, it's the hour time control against Parumala. And I played him mostly equally, and then I missed this move that honestly I think most people would find really challenging to find, the Night Sack, and then I basically got just outplayed in the end game. After, again, it was like a 70 move game. I used a lot of brain power, and entering round 2, same time control, I'm playing Vineeth. Neil seemed like a really nice kid. He was like sneezing. Like one complaint I have of these tournaments, I meant to mention this in the first video, is half the people that are playing are sick. Now I know that's not true. Maybe that's just like kids in general, but I really wish there was some standard of like if you sneeze X amount of times, you're just not allowed to participate. And maybe that sounds harsh, but like I don't want to get sick from these people. So I really wish that there was some level of decorum. There is none. It's probably my only gripe with these chess tournaments, actually. So, for those of you that don't know, I know that people who watch these videos are primarily Boylston players, some random people, but my background, I was a professional gambler for more than 10 years, actually. And although I was never much of a tournament player for poker, I still played a lot of tournament poker, so a lot of World Series of Poker stuff. And let me tell you this, the average poker player is probably ruder than the average chess player, although I'm actually not sure about that, to be honest. I don't think either are like particularly egregious or anything, although there are some quite rude people. But that's in any walk of life. Anyway, the truth, though, is that there aren't that many sick people playing poker. It happens, and it's gross, especially because people are handling chips or like sneezing in their hands and stuff. It's really gross, or like eating at the table. But I think it's mostly an age thing, where because it's 21 plus, you just don't really have that many people that are that sick playing casinos. Compare that to chess in a chess tournament, and I swear, half the kids are sick. So they like sneeze into the pieces, they don't get up, they're coughing all the time, so a lot of people, whether it's a nervous cough. Anyway, this kid kept like rubbing his face and everything, but other than that, he seemed like a nice guy. In fact, he's the lowest rated player in this section. I asked him, not like in an offhanded way, but I said, after the game, I said, Neil, out of curiosity, like, how are you in this section? I thought that people who were this far below were not eligible to sign up, and he just said, I just really wanted a challenge. So props to the kid. I didn't know that you were allowed to do that. I actually don't think you should be, by the way, but that's a whole nother story. And away we go. I am black. Neil plays d4. I wither, I dither. It's funny, because I think I said that I got a double black. My next game I also get black, and I also face against d4. So after like 3 months of no one playing d4 against me, I've now had 3 in a row. And I was planning on switching my openings, but I figured because this is a pretty big tournament, I shouldn't start to do random shit. I should play at least openings I know. Neil plays the Tartakower, which opens the door to the Wade. I can transpose immediately to like a King's Indian. I have a lot of options here. I'm going away from the Wade, but I decided to play it here because I feel like the chance that this kid knows the theory of this opening, it's pretty remote. So I just figured that I would be very comfortable in the opening. He powers out e3, and I just go to the g3 setup, and what it looks like is basically transposing into a King's Indian, where d6 is played later. He doesn't want me to like double the pawns. Fine, we'll get basically an opening that I've played a fair amount, not that much on Tuesday Night Swiss, to be honest, because I don't particularly like it, but an opening that I'm at least quite comfortable in. So yeah. Oh, and I decided as well, because he was only, he's the lowest rated player in the section, I decided I wasn't going to do anything fancy. So here we go. That quickly changes, by the way. But all right, g6, bishop d3. This is a normal move. Not as normal when I've played g6. It's actually better on c4, but like it doesn't matter. I play knight f6. This is a slight misordering. Technically, you're supposed to fianchetto first, but again, I don't think it matters. I thought that there was some dream where if he takes too long, I could maybe go d5, d4, for the fork. And because I currently have the pin, it's the kind of thing I thought a 1200 might miss, so I figured I would play to it. So that's why I misordered these moves. Yeah. He plays knight b d2. It's solid. He's putting more support on the e4 square. I don't have e5, e4 now. Yeah. I play bishop g7. Pretty typical. I'm just going to fianchetto up in this bitch. He then plays h3. He kicks my bishop. I actually did look at this. After this game, I went to the Jimmy John's. Not the Jimmy John's, whatever it's called. Jersey Mike's. That's the name of the place. I wouldn't recommend it. I got like a club, a ham club or bacon club. It was too heavy. Number one, like the prices aren't even good. Like it's not like I go to sandwich shops very often, but like it's not like a Subway or anything like that. That's cheap. Anyway, I just quickly looked at this game in between my second and my third one, which again I didn't have much time. Apparently I can take, but I thought I just want to keep all the pieces on the board that I can. I thought any complication will go in my way. Plays b3, which I think is a very weird move. He's giving me tactics, which I was ardently looking for. Opening the door to this. In fact, actually, this is what I first critical think of the game. I spent maybe 7 minutes. Yeah, 7 minutes in this position. Yeah, and I actually was very proud of myself. I wanted to play c5 here, and it is the best move, c5, or at least one of the best moves. Just go for the immediate break, because I kept looking at... Okay, for the record, I castle, which is also the best move. Those are the two best moves. All right. Clearly, I don't know this position super well, because maybe that's like not all... Like I shouldn't really give myself that plaudits. But I kept looking at c5 here, and obviously he could ignore. But then I thought I'd just get my c-pawn for the d-pawn. I'd probably improve my position. If he pushes, I can just take. He just loses the pawn. And if he takes... I actually wasn't planning on capturing right away. I could... But I was actually looking at knight d5, opening the door. And I thought that, yeah, knight d5. And I thought that this was, like, really sneaky good. Like, for example, his best move is bishop a3, which is not something I saw. I didn't even see that. I just thought I was getting... Because as you can tell, if he goes here, I have this move. So that's what I was looking at. Yeah, and actually, the reason I didn't, though... apparently the computer says that is the best move, which, again, I'm proud of myself. I spent 7 minutes. I thought after here, I got deeply uncomfortable with this move. Now, I'm sure this is probably winning for me. Yeah, it is. But I just basically didn't want... yeah, maybe this is silly of me because this is just super winning. For some reason, I thought that maybe he was trapping this. He was basically ripping my center open. I was only getting the exchange. But the way that this is going down, the tactics, it looks like I'm just getting, like, the piece for a bunch of pawns. Anyway, the point is, I thought that, if I push here, he doesn't necessarily have to take. And although I think my position improves if I can play that, I thought I could wait one move and just make a very natural, without the complications if I got something wrong. Especially because I don't know this perfectly. In my experience, again, I was telling my friend Randy this because he played 1200, who knew their opening very well. I think 1200s are very capable of knowing a position, especially if they play it very well, very often, and they might know it pretty well, or play it pretty well. I don't know. I'm hopefully making sense. I castle, and I figured that I would go for c5 pretty much no matter what happens next move. He castles, and I immediately blitz out c5. I say, this looks great to me. It's the best move. Cool. Excuse me. I don't know if that got picked up. I'm a little bit, like, I took some, Tums. The full story is, I think I mentioned in my first video, I had Indian food last night. I had a whole lot of leftovers. When I came home after this tournament, I ate all of them, and I think I overdid it. So, that's your story, fellas. Alright, so after, c5, he now plays bishop e2. Again, I just thought this was awkward. I'm sure it's a good move. But it just looked like there were a lot of potential tactics where it's like uncovered, unprotected. This actually is very reminiscent of my game recently against Tyler Berry, where I utilized a similar as colors. Well, no, colors were not reversed. No, colors reversed. Where he got this King's Indian setup, and I was actually able to use this like knight jump from there to there, from c3 to d5. Anyway, I just thought it was awkward. I was like, all right, maybe he's just playing kind of shaky. I took. Seemed like the natural move. Again, outside pawn from inside pawn. Seems good. And I just made a very natural developing move. I'm blitzing these moves out. I don't know if this is best, but my idea is I wanted to occupy the c file. In order to do that, I need to move the knight. Yeah, so I just developed the knight. I don't know. Like, that's literally all I was thinking. I was like, okay, seems right. He now plays c4. He's building a big pawn chain. And in fact, I think... what happens here? Oh, no, I think... I realized too late that I needed to play for d5 myself. This will come up in a move or two, and I'm wondering if it's good here, actually. e5 is best. I was looking at e5 too, but what's funny is I didn't think I could play e5. I calculated it, but I didn't want to spend that much time. I spent 4 minutes in this position. I didn't want to spend forever calculating it. And I know in a lot of these, like, you can even give that, but... okay, I played what, to me, is, like, the most natural move here. And it's rook c8. I think this move is fine. Apparently it's not the best move. Oh, it's excellent as well. And the reason why is this piece needs to get in the game. This is going to be a half-open file. I have ideas of b5 or d5 at a certain point, to crash on down. If he kicks my knight, if I want to be able to move my rook to give myself the option of rerouting, especially because I don't think I'm necessarily going to put it on a5. So that's why I thought this was, like, the best move. I started to calculate e5, and it got... Again, I spent 4 minutes in the position. It's the kind of thing, it got a little too complicated for me. After, like, takes. And so I saw this, and I was like... I said, why the fuck do I want to play this against a 12? Like, I didn't know what was going on. Computer says it's slightly good for black, that I should be happy to go into this, but I just didn't know it. And so what happened is I then told myself I'm going to put my rook in here, and I'm going to prepare e5. And that was my plan going forward. I said, that's got to be like the simple and correct thing to do. He plays rook e1, which makes sense. And my initial reaction was to play rook e8, but then I saw something, and I'm actually very proud of myself. Again, I peeked this at the, it's not Jimmy John's, Jersey Mike's, and I actually do play the best move, as you guys can tell. Is I figured I would like to open this up. His bishop is kind of awkward, and what I noticed, because I do play knight b4, is that when I play knight b4, it looks like a one-move threat, but I thought if he wants to maintain his bishop pair, if he retreats all the way to, like, let's say, b1, it cuts off his rook, I'd consider that a win. If he drops it down this diagonal, well, I saw something interesting about this position, which is that I can go bishop f5, which is where the bishop really belongs, and I thought if I was lasering down this diagonal, I'd have this potential fork, but also I might have this potential fork. So I thought that the knight on b4 was really doing something. And worst case scenario, if he ignored, I was now going to trade knight for bishop, and I was finally going to have the first time I've had the bishop pair in a game in a long time. And I thought this was the type of position with these long diagonals where the bishop pair is really strong. So it looks like the computer likes my plan. I play it. I'm happy. I'm proud of myself. And again, I'm moving relatively quickly. Like, Neil was a little bit lower on time than me, but not by much. But I have all the time in the world. I mean, sneak peek, again, my record against 1200s is not immaculate, but, sneak peek, I will win this game. I finished this game with more than 30 minutes on my clock, so good. Knight b4, after knight b4 is played, Neil responds with knight e4, which I think was actually an interesting idea of how to deal with it, because now he's basically saying that he'll get something out of it, which is a more active queen, like kind of develop it. So I actually liked his move. The computer doesn't like it, actually, that much, but I did. In fact, the computer is arguing that he should go to f1, can keep the bishops on, which, by the way, I thought, again, I didn't think a 1200 would do that. That, in the back of my mind, I thought that was the best move, but I saw this, which is the best move of the computer, and I just thought that this is still very good for me. So I was just really happy with this position. And the reason why as well, like if he tries to kick me, again, I just launch it. He doesn't have time to do that. So I thought this was like the trappy move or tricky move or whatever you want to call it. But instead he plays the knight here. I decide to take my prize, which is the bishop pair. Again, it's not much, but I'm black. I'm just trying to play slowly, and for once, it's been a while since I played like a complete chess game. I wanted it to be this one. So I take. He took back. It's fine. Again, the computer wants the intermitsu. Knight takes, knight check. He doesn't do that. I think that's a small inaccuracy. Again, something during the game that I considered, but I didn't. I kind of would figure that it's slightly better, but it's hard to articulate why. I go ahead with my plan. I play bishop f5. Now, technically, there's the tactic where this is now pinned, but the problem with this move is it kind of forces his hand. I think a 1200 should be able to find this move. It should be the only move in the position if knight takes knight, I think. Yeah, everything else, he's in a lot of rough shape. I thought there was a chance he'd make a mistake, and I take. And when we reach this position, we're on move 15. I still have 48 minutes left. He has 45, so again, we're very close in time, or something like that. We reached this position, and I just thought to myself, excuse me, I didn't finish the game with 30 minutes. Looks like I finished the game with a little more than 20 minutes, so again, doesn't matter much. The point is I had plenty of time. After bishop takes f6, I have the tempi. He's got to move the queen, that's for sure. I have the bishop pair. I guess he can take it out. I thought if anyone was better, it was me during the game. Computer doesn't agree. Computer still thinks, now it's trying to say it's 0. So yeah, computer says just equal. But I felt like I'd done my job as black, kind of like equalizing at this point. But, computer disagrees, and that's fine. I'm just talking about my state of mind. Vineeth drops queen d2. It's a logical move. He's now laterally making sure that this is not unguarded. He's maybe preparing to double. Double, toil and trouble. I think I used that same exact expression in my last video, so probably shouldn't overdo the cliches. The truth is, this was my second think of the game. I spent 5 minutes here, and I was trying to formulate a plan. And I had trouble coming up with a plan. And when I had trouble coming up with a plan here, I then thought to myself, well, maybe my position's not so good if I don't have a clear path forward. What am I supposed to do? So one idea was developing the queen, and I kept wondering if this sack is ever good. And this is going to come up because this was the whole game. Can I sack and get away with it? And I thought the answer is yes, okay? Because in the idea, and for the record, I just play what I thought was an improving move. I thought here, and if he does this, which looks like, kind of pins it in, my plan was to take. Now I check. Whichever way he moves, let's say there, I win the knight. And this is super winning. So I thought that was going to be good for me. But I didn't want to commit too hard in that direction, especially if he's got random moves. Not there, because I can just take it. So I said to myself, all right, let's try to just be thorough. Let's just improve the position of my pieces. And I thought to myself, all right, I might want to play e5. I might just need to protect e7, depending on what happens with my bishops over here. Let's just slide it over. This just looked like the natural move to me. Now, what's interesting is the computer says b5 is the best move in this position. The reason why I say this, and so you guys know that I'm keeping me honest, I literally played b5 the next move, so that was something in my mind, which is again trying to open this file. And the reason why, and this is what I was pointing out to him after the game, is my whole plan is because I have the bishop on f5, I want to open up the c file because then I can skewer him. And I thought if I am allowed to open up the c file, I crash through, and I thought I was basically winning. But I wanted to be thorough, and I wanted to make an improving move. Now, is this an improving move? Funny thing is, no. Computer actually says that was a very big mistake, not going for the b5 right away. I don't know why. You know what I mean? Well, actually, I do know why. Oh, right, because remember 10 minutes ago when we started this video, I was talking about pushing b5? I was looking at ways to open up this file, and I thought of b5 and I thought of d5. And I thought of just making an improving move, and I thought of moving my queen. So those were my candidate moves, and this was what I considered the second critical position of the game. And so I looked at d5 myself, because it denies him the chance. But and the advantage of why I wasn't afraid of him pushing is I thought that this is just a weakness. Like, we're both staring at it. That's fine. But I thought this was a bigger weakness for him. I don't know. Is playing d5 myself a good move, or is it a bad move? Not a good move, because the computer says after this, his position is a little bit better. Interesting. Again, I thought that maybe this would be a weakness that I could maybe undermine it, but maybe this isn't so strong, and like maybe this bishop is actually going to get trapped now, which is a big worry. All right, you know, food for thought. And to the credit of my opponent, and this is what I mean about 1200s, is like they are very capable of playing good chess for a bunch of moves in a row. Is he does play the best move here. He plays d5. And it's the best move for like 3 reasons. Number 1, he kind of has a dominant wedge in my position. This is a strong pawn chain. Number 2, I had the bishop pair, but this pretty much forces the bishop pair off. And once it's knight against bishop, it doesn't really matter. Like, there's many positions where the knight is stronger. And for 3, this is actually putting a lot of pressure on this pawn. Because I figured if I move it back and then he trades, what I do here is, now I play b5, because again, I'm desperate to open up this file. But I was thinking, like, if I trade and I let him take here, this is a weakness. This doesn't have a lot of places to retreat. I thought, I really didn't like my position here. Yeah, so the computer says this is light +1. So white is very, very comfortable. So I ruled that out. I thought that that was not possible. Although apparently it's the best move. Apparently he's turned the game around, and white is in fact just better. But the reason why is that I dropped back. I thought this was quite a bit worse, because now he gets this with Tempe, like checks, and now it's back to his move. He won a full move on me, so that's obviously out of the question. So I decided I was going to play this position where I play b5, try to open the file, try to leverage those. He trades on me, to be expected. And I wondered how bad this was. In my mind, I thought I could have my king here and protect everything, and you know, life is dandy. But this was actually a big mistake, and I actually invited an attack, and I think I don't think Neil jumped on it fully, but let's see what happens next. He then does a sequence of forcing trades, swings his last piece in with Tempe. Good move, and it was around this move where I realized, again, I've only used like 15 minutes, so two thoughts this game. But what's funny, and like I was trying everything not to just take this game lightly. I was playing my A game, or so I thought. And I realized in this position that like white's actually the one who's better here. I don't have the bishop pair. This is a weakness, even though I can defend it. These are really strong pawns. And he's hitting my queen right now. So this is where I had to do a third think of the match. You know, I spent another 6 minutes here. And I think I found the best move. I think I did. Play queen d7. And the reason why is I wondered if I needed to watch this pawn. So I considered this move, considered this move, and like with the one of these ideas, just thought too passive, and I considered this. So those are the three possible moves. I mean, he's hitting my queen. What else can I really do, right? Okay, and I played the best move, queen d7. Okay, good. I'm glad I got the best move, because all the other moves it looks like I'm just completely losing. So that's good. I chose correctly, and I had to calculate once I was here if he can play g4, because that was what I was always very cautious and worried about. And the reality is, he can't. Again, if he strikes here, I just sack it. Takes, and I'm immediately hitting the knight. So, okay. I said, I'm fine. This is not the problem. I then realized, you'll see, after I play queen d7, he swings queen c3, which is an inaccuracy. He's putting the queen in line of the rook. However, he is hitting this pawn, so I can't really make use of that right now. But moreover, it was in this position, and he spent a while to make this move. Or did he? 4 minutes. Not a lot of time. Felt like a long time. I then realized that the real threat was not g4, but actually g5. And I got very worried, because I said to myself, how the fuck am I going to protect this pawn? In order to do that. I can't play g5. I'm going to defend this pawn with my king. The reason why is I move up with my king. And I realized as soon as I do this, I can't play g5 because he can just take, leveraging the pin. I can't play h5, preventing that, because that just lets his knight jump in. This is again pinned, and I thought that again he's infiltrating. And I thought all of a sudden I have big problems. I didn't know how this happened. Like, how did I let how did I let this happen? In a position that was supposed to be quiet and simple, suddenly is a bit sharp and dangerous, actually. Yeah, so I protect my pawn, king g7. He then shuffles his queen around. It's worth noting he could have played queen d4 directly, which was obviously the best move, because then he's hitting this pawn and a lot of lines this pawn, and he's dodging the rook on the c-file. But he plays it now, and I needed to think of a move. I also realized in this position the threat is renewed, because if he's able to play g4, if I go bishop takes, he can just go queen takes. Or if he goes pawn takes, I don't have queen takes check because it's defended by the queen. So I realized I needed to put on my thinking cap, and I spent another 5 minutes here, and I'm pretty sure I did find the best move, and I had to consider the options here. Because, for the record, this was the first time in the game that I was actually worried, and I really liked my opponent's position here. I thought that I was the one under fire. Now, what's funny is he actually made some mistakes. So queen d4 is not good. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know queen d4 is not good. It seemed good to me. Okay, computer likes knight d4 with the idea of just trying to trade, but also hitting this pawn at the same time. So after something like takes, they want me to play h5 here. I guess to further prevent this, which does make sense. But I'm assuming that after this, at some point he can just, if he takes, then I'm in good shape. So I'm not fully understanding. Maybe to like jump in here, use this as an outpost, maybe something like that. Excuse me. All right, I do play the best move, and it's equal. There's no advantage here, but basically after queen d4, I had to figure out how I was dealing with g4. I saw that, let's see, move 22. Yeah, I saw that if I do nothing, he's able to play this move and I lose. Because I could like move it once, but then he can hit me again. And bishop trapped. So I saw the line of takes, and now if he does like for the record, he took back. And I calculated that if he does the premature move, again, I don't have the sack, but I was calculating bishop c2. Hopefully I'm right. This is something I have not looked at. Oh, wow. Actually, this is not wow. I did give this consideration to get a lot of pawns of takes, and if he does something like this, yeah, here I'm hitting this, I'm hitting this, I'm hitting this. This looks great for me. Okay, cool. Yeah, that would have been brilliant. Right, I was also considering, right, so if he attacks me here, of just sacking it. I thought that if I didn't like, I wonder if this is now losing. What about this move though? This is what I was thinking the longest about. The idea here is if he takes, I have an escape. I have an escape now. The great escape. I was a little bit concerned about him pushing. So now I'm able to play h6, so this doesn't work. I can just take. And then something like queen c3, and I thought I was escaping. It looks like I can also move the queen up, which literally is a move that happens in the game, so that's interesting. All right, I don't want to go off the deep end, but that is interesting. And like, yeah, this is a real position. White's a little bit better. Instead, I take, and Neil did take back. And I looked at this position, and, again, I spent another 3 minutes worrying about this, thinking I had this, and then realizing, why am I trying to defend? Let's just attack him. And it's more fun when you can play attacking chess, and I realized, there's no immediate threat here. I'm the one who's posing the threats, and I play queen e4, which is the best move. And the reason why is now I realize that I can deal tactically with g4, which is just simply taking the pawn here. And when I played this move, I saw that if he tries to just make a meek move, that I have all of these lines. For example, one thing that I was commonly looking at as far as the sack over here is whenever you take this pawn and they take back with this pawn, the knight's now undefended. I figured if he like slides the rook over and I win a tempi, I then have bishop sack with the idea of pawn takes, queen takes. I did look at like basically rook over here, queen up, moving the rook here, and I thought that was his best way forward. But again, now I'm not concerned about him swooshing down on the e-file. Now I can actually bring back the bishop to bishop d7, where it's quite active. So this is all I calculated. It looks like I calculated my way out of a jam, but it's still zeros. So we'll leave the computer on for the final bit. Because I think Neil, again, 1200s are very capable of playing good moves for a bit, but only for a bit. And yeah, he plays what is probably a principled move, but he's not responding to my threat, and he needs to. This is a huge threat. Rook takes pawn. In fact, the computer says his only way forward to preserve equality is just the knight move. He ignores all that. Like, knight here. Again, the move that I was looking at was this one, which the computer still says is pretty good. And I was looking at queen a3, which is the second best. And I was obviously looking at queen takes, which is even better. And even just the symbol h6 to, I guess, once this is pushed, and then I'm able to move, and then he pushes again, this is no longer a threat as far as, you know, a big check, because I'd be able to just take. So, okay, cool. But yeah, actually, it's interesting. It's knight d2. How would I have proceeded? Wow. Computer suggests rook e8 and just basically try to just go, you know, trade, and just alleviate pressure that way. Definitely an idea. In fact, against this player, I probably would have done that. Just take more pieces off the board and just try to outplay him, you know, like a queen-pawn endgame. But instead, he ignores the threat, and once this happens, I mean, I'm going to turn off, you know, this is his blunder. And I say fantastic. I spend 7 minutes in this position because I was calculating the win. I was telling my friend Ryan I was actually pretty happy with myself because I haven't been doing like deep calcs at all. Partly lazy, partly just mind stuff. But I buckled down and I said, all right, I'm pretty sure this is. I'm pretty sure I found a forced win. The reason why, well, okay, let me. I play this first. This was obvious. In this position, I calculated after takes. I thought he was already in trouble, and I wondered if he could take here. And I was looking at that from this position here. So here, I'll show you. So I go rook takes pawn. This looks natural. I'm better. I'm crashing through. He doesn't have this right now because he's got to move queen. In fact, in the post cap, I mean, he ends up taking the pawn, which is just losing. I suggested this is the only move to continue playing on because now he's protecting his back rank. And he still maybe has like these threats. But anyway, this didn't happen. I mean, obviously I'm still just much better. Instead, he goes for the pawn here, and this is the position where, sorry, so I spent 2 minutes in the previous one, so where I spent, I guess, you know, 7 minutes, whatever, calculating the win. Try to find it. Maybe you would have already seen it on the computer. I'm happy with myself. It's pretty much forcing, and I went for it, but I wanted to make sure it worked. So I've given you guys enough time. How long is this video? 30 minutes. Okay, yeah, this is gonna be a quick one. It starts with rook check because if he goes either knight block or rook block, I sack. So, you know, here, if he goes here or here, I sack. He ends up playing this move, but just to show you, if he goes here, it looks like I sack, but oh no, he's lost the defense of his queen. Game's over. In fact, same if he blocks with the rook. Oh no, my queen. So that's just losing. So I saw all that. I saw that, obviously. So I then said, in this position, I said, okay, I check. He has to go here. It opens the door for my queen. So I knew I had queen check on f4. He cannot go back to the back rank. So the only move is g3. And I saw I can then take the knight. And I was calculating from here, okay, once I've taken the knight, what happens after rook takes? And I said, all right, if I go anywhere here, obviously I can't go to f1 because that's I'd be in check. He would then check me again, bring the queen, and that's mate. So my only move is rook. All this happens, by the way, but I was happy that I calculated everything completely thoroughly. You know, it's okay to be proud of yourself. I mean, maybe this is on the easier side, but again, I haven't been great with like the deeper calcs, and I calculated this one 100%, so I feel good about that. Basically, rook check, king moves, rook checks after taking another pawn, and it moves. And in this position, my rook is here, This knight is here, and then I had taken the knight, and this pawn is here. So this square is taken away, this square is taken away. I then had to see, is it trouble if he's able to play h4 here? And I realized I can move the king up, and after this check, and again, I saw all this, I can block with my bishop. All of that is basically setting up mate. So I spent 7 minutes, I made sure that it worked, and then when I was making sure it worked, I looked at the position again, I said, great, it's over. And then I wrote, black wins here, because it's over. And yeah, this is what happens. So I go there, he goes here, I check him, he blocks, I take, he checks me, I go here, checks me again, I go here, checks me again, only move, checks me here, saw this, I block, setting up a mate with, it's funny, I have so many mates here. The queen can go here, the queen can go here, the rook can go here, the queen can go here. It's funny, I just have a lot of checkmates here. He throws one more check in, I block. For some reason, Neil, he spent 10 minutes in this position. I mean, he had the time, he could do that, but it's mate in 1 or mate in 2 or whatever. I mean, I guess he could sack the queen. He plays here, and I checkmate him. And that's the game, and that's all, folks. I was pretty happy with this one, because I won. I've obviously not been playing great, but thought that this one was a pretty good game. It was slightly sloppy early. He did get a little bit of attack, but as soon as he blundered, I played perfectly. So that's good. When I looked at it on my phone, it's not Jimmy John's, Jersey Mike's, they're all the same to me. It seemed like I scored very, very highly. Oh, in Jersey Mike's it was 95. But a 93.7, I'll gladly take it. It looks like I was slightly raw and rough here, but then I played perfectly to finish the game. So that's great. And again, like, I wasn't sure if I just, my opponent didn't play great, but he's, again, 1,200, like, 80% is not a bad game. It's just he obviously didn't jump all over me. Like, we got it was pretty equal in the opening. Mid-game, I made a bit of a mistake. In fact, what was my big mistake here? Yeah, it's funny. I didn't even know. I thought this was an improving move. But rook e8 is actually just a big mistake because it lets him play d5, opening up his bishop. And all of a sudden, white is actually in really good shape. And, it's funny. I made this move because I didn't want to do anything too committal, and I wanted to continue improving my position. And by not doing anything forceful, i.e. b5, which I play next move anyway, or d5, etc., all those moves, I actually welcomed danger. So there's a lesson to be learned in this one. Anyway, I got the win, so this meant after 2 rounds, I had 1 win, 1 loss. Yes, the win was against the lowest rated player in the section, but all the wins are created equally. Unfortunately, points-wise, I'm still down a little bit of rating, but again, the rating is kind of whatever. I mean, I care about it, that's not a huge deal. Stay tuned for Game 3. Hope you all enjoyed this one. I don't think there's much else I can say about it, other than I was pleased with myself. Once he blunders, I calculated perfectly, actually. So that makes me feel great. I think I played all the best moves. Yeah. Takes, check, here, check, g5, here, g4, d4, yeah, and it's just mate. Cool. Yeah, and that's all she wrote. Yeah. Okay. We'll see what happens in the next round. Later.